Say, man, you got a joint? Be a lot cooler if you did. A joint practice is what we're talking about, of course, because the New Orleans Saints and the Los Angeles Chargers, they had their first day of joint practice leading up to NFL preseason week 2, which will be this Sunday. So for today's show, I'm going to get into some news, some takeaways, and just some highlights to discuss coming out of day 1 of training camp for the joint practice. So before we get into that, though, Saints fans, let's go, because we are going to be live on August 20th, Sunday night at 5:30 p.m. Central Time for another watch party. And if you missed last one, trust me, you do not want to miss this one because it's going to be electric. So type Stay Golden in the comment section if you plan on joining us. And as for what you can expect, if you've never been a part of our live watch parties, it is electric. You get a 30-minute pregame show, tailgate, we're hanging out, we're throwing back drinks, we're tossing beads around. It's like Bourbon Street on Mardi Gras. It is unreal. We're also going to be giving out some Super Chat giveaways. We got a really cool picture, really cool poster for your man cave at home, so our Super Chat MVP. We also provide live play-by-play and audience interaction throughout the entire game. Even in the post game, we give you a quick reaction, give you our thoughts, takeaways, highlights, all sorts of fun stuff. So be sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications to join the best game day atmosphere outside of being at the Caesars Superdome. All right, let's talk about some practice takeaways because it was a pretty dang interesting practice, if you ask me. First things first, though, let's talk about some injury news. Here are 10 players in no particular order that we have some injury updates around. So Lucas Krull, he was dressed today. Demario Davis was dressed. Going to talk about him a little bit more because he's dealing with that calf injury here in just a second. But he was out there today, which is pretty cool. Kirk Merritt also dressed out. Rashid Shaheed, he traveled with the team but did not dress out and did not participate today, but still like seeing him out there with the team. That shows that, you know, he's a good culture guy. Who wouldn't want you guys out there? Andrus Peat, he dressed out today, which was a pretty good update. Kendre Miller, your rookie running back, had an injury issue, that knee problem that he kind of re-aggravated last week against the Chiefs. He dressed out and he was participating. Cesar Ruiz did not dress out. Landon Young was not seen at practice, as too was Taysom Hill and Tre'Quan Smith. So there's some quick injury news for you. But as for Demario Davis, it was good to see number 56 back out there. And if you didn't know, he was dealing with a calf injury. He hadn't been playing for a little bit, hadn't really been participating for a little bit. And he worked in the early portion of practices, did some team drills, did some slow stuff. But then he did drills off to the side, working off to the side throughout the rest of the practice and, you know, the main thick of everything. So there's your injury updates. You got to love that. Nothing too crazy and nothing, pretty much all good news, if you ask me. But I want to get into takeaway number 2 because it's something about the Saints wide receivers just feels freaking special because they continue to feast, and feast like it's Thanksgiving dinner or lunch or whatever you eat. But they're eating. And I just want to say one thing real quick. Derwin James, sit your ass down. Sit your ass down because Nick Underhill was reporting today that Mike Thomas was absolutely devouring Derwin James in one-on-ones today. And let's just say this. Suave Olave, number 12, he continues to shine and look like an absolute superstar wide receiver. You're seeing Derek Carr connecting early and often with guys like MT and number 12, Chris Olave. I love seeing that the wide receivers are continuing to show a lot of promise. Hey, and also shout out A.T. Perry because he had a really good day as well, had a handful of really good catches, and looked outstanding in one-on-ones per report. And I just want to throw another update from Nick Underhill here. I think this really just sets the scene for Chris Olave. I mean, come on here. Chris Olave won all of his reps on one-on-ones. He drew a pass interference, which was the only incompletion that he dealt with or that he had, and he matched up with Asante Samuel, who is not a bum. He is not just some fraudulent DB. He is a quality defensive player in this league. And I'm just going to also throw this out there. On aboard! We're now boarding the Saints 2023 hype train. It's a freight train from hell going straight up the ass of the competition. It's going to be electric this season. Michael Thomas, he absolutely shredded Derwin James like we said. And then also this picture, just look at Derek Carr just dropping the bread in the basket for Chris Olave. I mean, I don't care who your favorite DB is. He's not stopping that unless you're doing a PI. Come on now. The Saints hype train, you better get on board because we're boarding now. And here's the thing. Like I said, all aboard. If you're on the hype train with me, get in the comment section and type me. It is going to be a fun season. I don't care who you are. I don't care how bad the Saints have looked over the past couple seasons. I am excited. I am hyped, and I'm the damn conductor of this train, so we're going to keep things moving. Type me in the comment section because I want to hear from you, Who Dat Nation. All right, so kind of some more serious stuff. Derek Carr, Michael Thomas. I think they're going to be a really fun duo to watch this season. It's going to be a lot of really electric passes. We already saw a little bit of that in just the one drive Derek Carr and Michael Thomas played together in NFL preseason week 1 for that nice 16-yard connection over the middle. And Michael Thomas, he got some props from his quarterback today in that post-practice press conference. And Carr saying, from what I've seen, he's looked like Mike Thomas. I just love seeing that originally. Like just that first line right there makes me feel some type of way. I'm not going to lie. It's a good thing that the camera's only waist up. I keep saying that because that was my expectation when I got here. He plays violently, strong at the catch point. He's able to separate, and he's a great competitor. What I've expected out of Mike Thomas, I've seen. Just being around him, I've loved every second of it. And as for Sunday for Derek Carr, he said that he's not necessarily sure if he's going to play or not. However, he's going to be ready just in case. And I want to say one thing here. Dear NFL, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that Derek Carr is going to be cooking you all season. I'm so sorry that you counted out Michael Thomas to be an absolute stud this year. I'm so sorry that everyone is continuing to overlook the New Orleans Saints because, as you guys know, this team just, they're good but not great. They just can't get over that hump. Dear NFL, I'm sorry. Not at all, because the Saints are here to make some noise this season, and I have nobody to apologize to. All of that was a joke. The Saints are here to make some noise. The Saints are here to absolutely dominate this season, and so long as health issues do not get in the way, the penalties can get cleaned up, and the coaching can just be consistent and quality play calling, this team, the ceiling is so high, the only people who can take them down are Brother Belo, to be honest. So, if you get the reference, you get the reference. But, Saints fans, we got a preseason game to talk about. So, who you got? Type S for Saints, type C for Chargers, and just another friendly reminder, join us for our live coverage 30 minutes before kickoff. We're going to be going live at 5:30 p.m. Central Time, so be sure to join us for the watch party. All right, last takeaway I want to get into, this defense is going to be absolutely elite. And I think that my guy, Ross Jackson, over at Locked On Saints, he does Saints News. I mean, let's keep it real. What doesn't Ross Jackson do? He's an absolute stud. New Orleans' defense did not allow the first-team Chargers offense to score on either red zone nor hurry-up drill opportunities. The Saints defense made plays all over. They bounced back well from some struggles on one-on-ones, which, of course, are always weighted towards the offense. So shout out to Ross Jackson for that update and that analysis right there. He's doing a phenomenal job. I encourage you guys to follow him on Twitter if you haven't already. And, give me a follow as well. I retweet a lot of these guys in case you don't, find where you can get a lot of this stuff. Give me a follow because I'm also tweeting out as well. But let's talk about lockdown laddie daddy Marshon Lattimore, because Justin Herbert today, he was just slicing, dicing, wheeling and dealing to Keenan Allen on those quick and easy completions. I'm talking quick slant, screen pass, 5 and out, something like that. But as soon as Marshon Lattimore stepped in, he shut that bleep down. I had to pause myself. I'm sorry. I'm having a little too much fun with today's video. But he had to shut it down. Marshon Lattimore is having one of the best training camps, I would say, probably of all time. He is your definite training camp MVP throughout the entirety of training camp. Close second, Chris Olave. So Marshon Lattimore, I expect big things out of him this year. I love to see that he is still just building and building and building. He is not settled. He is not complacent. We're happy and content with being second, third, fourth, or fifth best CB in the league. He wants to be number one, and that's something I admire and respect about Lockdown Laddie. And as for the linebackers, new linebacker Jaylon Smith, he got a lot of work with the first team today. Nephi Sewell had a nice little punch out to force a fumble, which was recovered by Marshon Lattimore and taken to the crib. Gotta love that on game day. I would love to see that on Sunday. And then DeMarco Jackson. He had a nice little interception versus the Chargers' second-team offense. So there you go. And on that play, just kind of a note, Isaiah Foskey, he did get around and get to what would have been a sack, but they played through it, threw the ball up. DeMarco Jackson came down with the pick. So, also shout out to Isaiah Foskey on that. Moral of the story, pretty much as a whole for the defense, if Keenan Allen wasn't getting the ball on a 10-yard, on anything 10 yards or less, the Saints were absolutely eating their dinner. They were taking that lunch money. They were giving it to their girlfriend and saying, hey, babe, go buy yourself an ice cream and get me one too while you're at it. So one of the other things I want to discuss, shout out to producer Seeps for this one, man. He is a stud. Kawaan Baker, he did have his best practice of training camp so far today. Just some final thoughts here for you guys. I look at some of my notes. There was also a lot of pre-snap penalties. You got to clean that up. There were some holding penalties. You got to clean that up. It's inexcusable, and that ultimately is what's going to win and lose you games. Saints have had horrible issues with penalties. Please, for the love of God, Dennis Allen, Pete Carmichael, clean it up. But also, A.T. Perry, I want to show him some love. He went off. He had a great day. He continues to be an absolute stud. He is one of these guys who just shines any single time you give him the opportunity to. And when the lights were the brightest, preseason week 1 for him, he dominated. We all saw what happened. We all know what happened. We were watching the game together. A.T. Perry is that dude, and I want to keep seeing him just destroy your favorite team's defense. Not the Saints, though. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. One more update that I wanted to give. Shout out to Ross Jackson for this note as well over at Locked On Saints. Like I said, I thought that this was an interesting note, so I wanted to include it. He said, after winning only one of the first 16 reps, the New Orleans defense bounced back, winning 8 of the final 14 reps when the Chargers offense and the Saints defense were going against each other on one-on-ones. So do what you want with that information. I think that it shows the resiliency of the Saints defense. Sure, you get burned early, you go down early, whatever. What happens or what matters is the score at the end of the game. And I think that the Saints defense ultimately won today over the Chargers offense. But guys, if you want more Saints coverage, if you want to just see what I got going on, learn more about me and my life, hit me up at Trace Girouard 48. I love music, I love the Saints, and I love the Who Dat Nation. I encourage you to give me a follow. If you hit me up, just DM me joint practice or, joint practice, man. Anyway, let's have some fun. Hit me up on Twitter and Instagram for more Saints coverage. And as always, y'all stay golden. We'll catch you next time. See you at the watch party.